wait for a bit. Are we live? I'll put the
I don't know, I'm just going to check.
yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Welcome. This is the first live stream of the Euclid night. Just the basics of Euclid tonight. We'll be getting into it. Give people a chance to get into it. Come in. Start with the basics of proof tonight, although we have been going over it for quite a while. I can't really do too many things at once.
Hello.
Hello.
Ah, finally.
Yeah, what's up? What are you doing?
I'm just chucking the link out there.
Yeah, it's live now.
I should be doing better than this. We should get this scheduled. I will get there eventually.
Of course.
Right. So, who've we got? Nobody really coming in just yet. I'll wait for a bit. A bit of feedback there, Bloods.
My bad.
Let me get this link out. Right, I've got a video and a music bit, Buster bit to go over, so that's about 17 minutes or whatever. May as well put that on, eh? I'll let you guys hear it. Everybody else will be coming in. I don't know how I can do it. You'll have to let everybody else know up there if they're not looking or what. They probably don't even know. I will. You want the YouTube stream. Close that off. Right, so here we go. This is the basically okay. We're starting off with the Euclid night, but the Euclid doesn't really mean anything unless you have an idea of what Euclid's meant to be doing, or
I don't personally mind talking
what Euclid is there to be doing. So, oh wait a minute, we screen. Asking everybody about proof. We obviously did a bit of it quite a bit ago when we were going over it, and at the beginning of this video you'll hear the Buster song. That
due to the conversation. In this community, it's forced the scientific conversations to eliminate the word proof altogether.
It is probably the single most important mathematical idea of all. The notion of proof by circle and line or ruler and compass construction means that geometry can be known about in a way that is different from knowing about physical things, and so makes geometry epistemically differentiated. Furthermore, starting from circles and lines alone and constructing a relationship using circles and lines alone makes the conclusions certain in a way that nothing else was at the time. In geometric reasoning, the argument and the conclusions were made supremely clear and evident to the senses. Indeed, the concept of proof, a mechanism that gave a warrant for claiming geometry to be perfectly and absolutely true, made geometry the very paradigm of what we mean true and certain knowledge to be. In effect, in our understanding of nature, true means true like geometry is true.
Come go with me. Open your mind. Was all I ever knew. Finding the knowledge of the real world starts with the point of which has no parts. These are the axioms of life.
True.
And I'll take my chances with the old ways, finding the proofs in geometry. And I don't care what all the sophists say, I find the proofs
We call this
in
proof.
reality. 'Cause they were right.
We call this
We
proof.
know that they were right.
True. We call this proof. Like geometry is true.
Starting with circles and lines alone, constructing the nature of what's known.
We call this proof.
Conclusions are clear and the evidence seen. This 3D space works perfectly. And I'll take my chances with the old ways, finding the proofs in geometry. And I don't care what all the sophists say, I find the proofs in reality.
Like geometry is true. Perfect. Absolutely.
And all around you is sinking sand. You have a place on which to stand. Foundations were already built for you.
Absolutely true.
Open your mind, and I'll take my chances with the older ways, hearing the words of what the ancients said. They say my words sound like sorcery, but there's wisdom in all honesty.
True.
Come go with me. Open your mind. Come go with me. We'll find the truth.
True.
Happy New Year to you, SC.
Thank you, sir.
Are you have you made any resolutions? I mean, are you going to
Not
stop saying dumb
particularly.
shit this year, maybe?
Say again?
I said, are you going to stop saying dumb shit this year, maybe?
Well, I'm gonna continue saying what I am saying. If what you think that's dumb shit, well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, all right. Then. No, we've got
That's
that.
like
I
the
come in
question.
peace tonight. I come in peace. I want to ask you guys a question.
Oh, go on then.
What is a proof? Seriously.
Well, that's
It's
the
not a
thing about,
tactic.
that's the wonderful thing about science. We don't look for proofs. We look for consensus.
Do you hold any
We all
proofs
make an
yourself?
agreement. After
No,
most
I'm
of
a
us agree
scientist.
that something exists, like a round Earth or
A
a
great
globe
circle is a
Earth,
straight
then
line.
we don't really need to look for a proof. We've all come to that consensus.
What is a proof?
Unless something
Seriously.
comes along that
It's not a
shows us
tactic.
that we're wrong, then we'll reevaluate. Disprove the word proof.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
Figure out what the shape of the globe is, and make adjustments for it. There is no real proof in science.
You can have a line that extends in a third dimension.
A great circle is a straight
it's
line.
Not actually what you would refer to as a straight line, but will still be a straight line in the two-dimensional aspect.
A great circle is a straight line.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
It's not my problem if you don't want.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
Disprove the word proof. Not say this is a proof. For the
Do you hold any proofs yourself?
You can have a consensus. No, I'm a scientist. Something's going to come along eventually and might just change that proof and make it not provable.
Did non-Euclidean geometry supersede Euclidean geometry? Like, is it bye-bye?
Hell no.
They're discussing two totally different domains. So one would
Do you
not
hold any
supersede the
proofs
other
yourself?
unless
No, I'm a scientist.
context of.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
All right, if we're dealing with a sphere,
They're discussing two different geometries.
we have a sphere and we're trying to do some geometry with it. Are we now doing spherical geometry?
No, you're discussing a circle.
You can do it in Euclidean, or you can do it in spherical.
A great circle is a straight line.
You don't understand.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Disprove the word proof.
Just on your own.
Since we got a big crowd here, I want to ask you guys, because we're doing a project, and I'd like to know what constitutes a proof for you guys. Like, what would convince you of something, like a proof?
Generally, everybody concedes that the Earth's a globe.
A great circle
Okay,
is a
but
straight
if somebody
line.
comes along and shows with definitive
Do you hold any
evidence,
proofs yourself?
that globe theory is wrong,
A great circle is a straight line.
then science opens
Do you
its
hold
doors
any
and
proofs
says, all right,
yourself?
let's figure out what's going on
No,
here.
I'm-
Why are
I'm a
we
scientist.
wrong? What happened?
So yeah, I like that. So you're saying I have to present you something that I can explain to you,
No,
that I
I'm
can
a
repeat,
scientist.
and I mean that you can also do and repeat for yourself and verify. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think there are mathematical.
Is the sound crackling just for me?
A great circle is a straight line.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Disprove the word proof.
No, it is crackling. Bev, you there?
Spherical geometry. A straight line.
I'm not sure whether it's
is
Discord or
a
just.
great circle.
No reason, no logic, no
Good afternoon.
I'm a scientist.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight
You're
line.
just on your own.
Do you hold any proofs yourself?
No reason,
No, I'm a scientist.
logic, no answers to question.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
You're
That's
just
better.
on your own.
Do you hold any proofs yourself, sir? Do you hold any proofs yourself?
No, I'm a scientist. Why would I sit there and say this is the Michelangelo proof of such and such?
There are more geometries than just a on a flat plane. For example, I mentioned the thing that I mentioned, spherical geometry. A straight line is a great circle.
Can we prove something simple like a straight line? All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
Mathematically, you could.
A great circle is a straight line.
But
How
I
would
don't
you
know.
go about doing
okay,
it?
are you talking about a straight line on a piece of paper? That you've got some problems there that you could go into if you want to talk about the physics of the line itself. But if you're talking about mathematically 2 points being intersected, creating a straight line, yeah, there's a mathematical proof for
All I
that.
was saying is that a circle is not a straight line. So we can prove. So how? Well, what would you? How would you explain it? Like in your words?
The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line in
A
math.
great circle is a straight line.
Perfect.
Only in
Beautiful.
math?
Yeah.
But that's
That's
a
it.
mathematical proof.
Since we got a big crowd here, I want to ask you guys, because we're doing a project, and I'd like to know what constitutes a proof for you guys. Like, what would convince you of something, like a proof? So, Doofus, you think a circle is a straight line, correct? Saying is that a circle
In
is a
spherical
straight
geometry it is, and it's not about what I think. It's about what is definitely published in geometry books around the world.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
You cannot make a scientific proof. You could do a mathematical proof, but a real scientific proof can always be challenged. Anybody who makes a proof claim can be challenged, and that makes it not a proof anymore. Disprove the word proof, and that makes it not a proof anymore. And that makes it not a proof the word proof.
So there is a shorter distance between 2 points than a straight line.
In outside of math
great
itself.
circle is a straight line.
Outside of math itself. Now there's another
In reality,
kind of math.
but in reality.
In reality, outside of math.
A great circle is a straight
Yeah.
line.
I don't personally mind talking about the word proof as long as it's understood to be a colloquial term that we're just saying proof to me is, or something like that. But you know, due to the conversations in this community, it's forced the scientific conversations to eliminate the word proof altogether.
The surface, that concept, the surface of a sphere is an abstract concept. It is 2D. That's a fact.
A great circle is a straight line.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
Essie, you're trying to use the word proof again when we've already come to the conclusion that that's not the word you're supposed to use in that context.
You what? You're banning words now? Is your name Bob or something?
Well, Jeremy, I can
This
give you an
is Gem
experiment.
server. Shout out to Gem, by the way.
Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line in mathematics.
Me or no?
Outside of mathematics, the shortest distance, you have to include other factors such as time and so forth. This is where a scientist would just sit there and look at you and go, how can you call that a proof? You cannot say this is a proof for this existence. You can have a consensus, but if something's going to come along eventually and might just change that proof and make it not provable.
A proof in the terms of mathematics is a concept that shows that all relationships all things involved in that
Are you afraid of the question?
will come up within that same boundary.
A great circle is a straight line.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
Disprove the word proof.
No reason, no logic, no wisdom, no worries.
No, I'm a scientist.
You're just on your own. No reason, no logic, no answers to question.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
You're just on your own.
I'd like to hear some more opinions on proof if anybody wants to give their opinion.
Only if it involves math, because I've said this time and time again, and then I got censored for it, that I said math has proof, science does not. And that's a fact.
Only Jeranism has made a genuine effort
Disprove
to do
the
that
word
test
proof.
in a way that cannot be refuted.
I mean, if we can't even come to a simple agreement of what proof is,
No, I'm a
how are we
scientist.
going to progress?
You have to leave the surface in order to do the chord.
I don't know exactly how all the things. Yeah, we don't use a mathematical proof to, or disprove the word proof, or come to the consensus.
There's a more general answer. And a straight line, the shortest distance between 2 points is a geotest.
Circle is a
And a straight line is the subset of geotest.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Disprove the word proof.
You have to open your mind. Imagination is all you need.
I want to put this in people's mind.
Don't take advice from fools.
What is proof to you?
Everything that they say is in
Well, first let me say there is no such thing as a proof in science.
Take advice from fools.
Are you afraid of the question, bro?
Don't know what they do is in vain.
if you wanted to be considered quote unquote proof, it would need to be testable, repeatable, investigatable.
And that's not how science works. And you're missing what my point is. It's the word proof that needs to be tossed
I'm
out.
a scientist,
not the consensus.
Are you afraid of the question, bro? I have the feeling that you don't want to answer this question. You want to deflect. What would you accept as proof?
A great circle is a straight line.
No, I'm a scientist.
A great circle is a straight line.
But in life, no, in life, there is no proof, no real proof.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
A great circle is a straight line.
No, I'm a scientist.
Math can prove that math is correct. Math doesn't prove reality. That's not how it works.
Are you saying that a circle is a straight line?
A great circle is a straight line.
Only in the context of spherical geometry.
Or another way to disprove the word proof of the shortest distance between two lines. You fold space.
What is a proof? Seriously.
Well, that's
it's
the
not a
thing about
tactic.
science. That's the wonderful thing about science. We don't look for proof. We look for consensus.
All I was saying is that a circle is not a straight line.
Disprove the word proof.
Okay, it's not doublespeak if you don't understand it.
Disprove the word proof.
Something true doesn't require a human mind to be able to prove it.
No, I'm a scientist.
Problem, Jeremy, of additional dimensional thinking. For instance, you take 2 points in time. What's the shortest distance between them?
I think what you guys are claiming to be proof when you're using that word, in science they used to call that a law, which laws can be shown to be not true.
No, I'm a scientist.
It's pretty flat and level now.
If you enjoyed the content, please support On the Level and future projects. Membership subscriptions available.
Right, let me swap these windows over. You guys there now? Discord. Boom. Right, okay, welcome everyone. Have we got everybody in here? We're doing a new thing now. We're in a new room. So there'll be no barging in. It's everybody that needs to be in here. Like anybody, you know, like make sure if anybody does come in that they do need to be in here, that they've got the role and they can come in. This is the team agents. So first one, the idea of when we started this journey, it was the challenge was set to be able to, can you prove something that you already know to be true? That was basically what we were asked to do. And so we've been on a journey to be able to do that thing then. But I guess the first thing was to go through the journey of what is proof. And we've been on this search, like SE said in that. We've got a project. I mean, this is the project is proof. Because we're talking about how to gain a proof. And that was the journey that we went on. That's what we're doing here, we're doing the Euclid. But when we've been out talking to people, there definitely seems to be a group of people that don't believe that you can find proof because they automatically go to science. It's their overriding thing. And I don't know whether that's part of the problem or not. whether in science, because like they say, everybody says it's only in mathematics. Well, that mathematics is founded upon a logical system that works logically, and in order to not be fooled by numbers, because there are tricks that you can play with numbers. I can't remember the other day somebody told us that you could get 1 equal 2, which is a bit silly to even think of as a possibility, because 1 is 1. 1 can't be 2 because of the laws of non-contradiction, which we'll get to in a bit. But the whole idea of this first one is the idea that if you're looking to find a proof of something without understanding even what proof is, you know you have to go to mathematics. You cannot go to science. So the proofs are founded within mathematics. Now, when they say within mathematics, they don't mean numbers or equations or anything. What they mean is that the proofs are founded within geometry. Now, they don't just mean geometry and lines and shapes and all of that, because that would be ridiculous. What they mean is that the foundations of geometry is a logical system that enables you to gain a proof of something. And the systematic way that you lay this out is like a mind way to make sure that you're balancing like equations and you're checking your work as much as possible to guarantee that the outcome is a genuine, truthful one. So for us, the idea of finding a proof of something led us to geometry, just to find the proof of, mainly because that's where we were looking. We were looking to find a proof that level was horizontal. Like we knew it. When I say we, I mean initially me and Spot On. We were just looking for some sort of way to prove something that we both understood to be true anyway. Now, how would you do that? Trying not to be biased or have anything in the way of anything. How do you actually go about trying to prove it? Something that you know to be true. And every step of the way, it taught us that in order to find a proof for yourself, because this is once you go on this journey to find a proof, it is a personal thing. It's definitely a personal journey that you're on, and that personal journey leads you to find out. Led us to go right back to the most basic things that we could. But that was, I guess, aided by Euclid. Like when we went to study Euclid, it led us on a journey and taught us how to run the logical system of everything. So that's what we're going to do. Now, before you start with the Euclid, you need to have an understanding of why we're doing this. Because I don't know, a little bit strange, right? Because it's geometry. Most people here have done it at school. Well, yeah, that was geometry that you were taught at school. Well, this isn't that geometry. This is a teaching of a logical system. And a way for you to build from nothing, basically, to basically understand everything. It's rather strange the reason this hasn't been taught people. I personally think this is purposely been not taught, because this is a way for you to control yourself, right? You get an understanding of where everything comes from in your own way. So I've got a few things that sort of pre-Euclid, if you will, as to why why we do Euclid. Right, so the basics of this is based on logic, and the foundation of logic is the oldest way of sorting out any sort of an argument, or anything. An argument being a discussion put in a way to, I mean, we'll get onto the logic in the other series of modus tollens and all of that, but this is basically been over, and I've probably been over these sort of things quite a few times, but I mean, I'll go through it again. Right, I don't know whether you don't need my screen up, do you? Can I turn that screen off for you guys, because we're in the agents live stream, and I'm on the logic one at the minute. I'm going to read this. So the method of logic is to know something or to prove it through reasoning. Logic provides one answer to the question, how do I know? One can reply, I deduced it. Latin. Oh, right. Hence we deduce or prove something. We are led through reasoning from what we know to what we conclude. The statements we prove are called theorems, but it's not possible to prove every statement. If we had to, there would be no end. Rather, to prove or explain anything is to do so in terms of something simpler, something that we must acknowledge and accept. Right? They're called postulates and axioms. So, sort of the definitions of things, but similarly, it is not possible to give a verbal definition of every word, because we must already understand the words in which a definition is framed. An example from arithmetic is the impossibility of defining 1. We've done this and we've been through it a few times. It says try, meaning just have a think about how you define 1. That does not mean you don't understand 1. An example from geometry is the definition of a straight line. Is there something we know better or is more fundamental on which a definition could be based? So he's saying, can you define a straight line? Like you can define 1. I mean, there are a couple of ways of doing it. I mean, I do it anyway. Probably most people that are listening have already got that. But I mean, that's for you to think about, right? With the straight line and definition of 1, it sort of says that if you're going to build an argument, then it's not worth building an argument if people are going to go backtrack on the words that you're using in the argument. We have to understand. We have to, when we're going into a discussion or whatever within logic, you have to make sure that everybody understands exactly what you're talking about, and the words are defined within geometry very specifically. There's no wiggle room in definitions within geometry, because they're stated and they're wrote within a book, and that'll come apparent when we start with the Euclid. And then it says logic then, which is the science of reasoning. Isn't that weird? Right? Logic is the science of reasoning. Yet we've been told that by the scientists that there is no proof. Yet that these guys are calling the science, logic is the science of reasoning. It's not founded on reasoning. It's founded on irreducible understanding on what we call first principles. They provide the basis for proving the first principle of Euclid's geometry are in 3 categories. Right, so the whole point of the basis of using logic is to prove things. And we go down to an irreducible understanding. So we base everything on the base fundamentals, and that's where we start. So this isn't going to be anything that somebody can't get, because the idea is to break it down to the easiest you possibly can. Right? There's no confusing anybody with this. If somebody doesn't understand anything, let us know and we'll try and base it, and we'll get it even more simplified, right? The idea with this sort of thing is to bring as many people with us as we possible and build it from nothing. We've been over it a few times, and I'd love to go over it more times, right? This is not something that, you know, we won't be going over again, because this is where you learn when you go back to these beginnings and the basics. Right, and it says, oh, is that? Oh, I've already read that one. And formally defined a point. A point is which. Oh yeah, so this is a clip that might come up in a bit, but I mean I'll read it now anyway. So we have not formally defined a point, although Euclid does. A point is that which has no part or no parts. That is, it is indivisible, right? Most significantly, Euclid adds the extremities of a line are points. Thus, when a line exists, when it has been drawn, its endpoints also exist. We have not defined a line, although again Euclid does. A line is length without breadth. Euclid defines them because they are rudimentary ideas in geometry. But since there is never occasion to prove that something is a point or a line, a definition of one is not logically required. Right? So it goes without saying that you don't need to prove a point or a line. Cannot be proved because they don't actually exist until they're drawn, and then when they are drawn, they're obviously there, and they're existing beyond the geometric parts to it. And listen, I'll read another one about straight lines. Each straight line that forms the boundary of a square, for example, will have two extremities, obviously. But we imagine that we can extend a straight line for as far as we please. And therefore we say that a straight line is potentially infinite. To be potentially infinite is in a marked contrast to being actually infinite, which would mean that the straight line has no endpoints at all. It's important to keep in mind that a line, the idea of length only, that idea exists. But we will see that a line will have its mathematical existence when we have drawn it. And we draw a line to the boundary of a figure, for it's the figures, not the lines, with which plane geometry is concerned. So it's not necessarily bothered about the lines again, it's just the figures, the things that the lines are drawing that are important within this geometry that we're talking about. And so we have no need even for the idea of an actually infinite line. In what is called analytic geometry, however, they say they do need such lines. I don't know why, but they say, that's like he says, they say they do need such lines. But in plane geometry, it is only finite lines, the actual or potential boundaries of a figure that we ever require. Hence we speak of a straight line in these pages. We we mean what we can actually witness and draw a line with it with two extremities. So when we talk of a line, again, in reality, we're talking between points that, it actually exists in reality as it actually exists on the paper. Just the foundations of why we're doing this and what it's all about. Anybody here got any other points they'd like to bring up before we start in the actual geometry? Oh, actually, I think... Anybody got anything to say?
Hey everyone, it's Raven. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say then that points and the lines exist in reality in potential, and until something physical takes on that line or the point, that they're there all the time in potential, but they don't come in until...
Right, you apply this stuff to reality at your own will. We're just getting on talking about the basis of the geometry that we're going
Yeah,
into.
it could. Sorry, Bev.
Go on.
Sorry, yeah, it could be a line on a bit of paper, couldn't it? It could be a line. It could be a brick wall. It could be many. There are many straight lines that are formed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just that philosophically, is it that line exists there anyway in potential, and then we make it more manifest by drawing the line that exists between those points. So it's there all the time within reality, but it's manifested as soon as you start creating things and drawing things.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
It was just a thought, Ed.
Right, so I don't know whether it's worth putting out these yeah, I don't think it's worth going over that. So you ready to start with the definitions then? Because this is how it starts. Euclid starts with nothing. Like he says, on the foundations of logic, to its most irreducible part. I'm looking for the definitions.
Can I jump in just for have you there?
Yeah.
Is my mic bad? Is my mic bad?
It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay. So we're discussing Euclidean definitions, right?
No, just the definitions of geometry.
When they come to us and they want to use non-Euclidean geometry,
who's they?
Anybody that comes in and wants to have a discussion with us, and we've had numerous discussions with people who come in and start talking about non-Euclidean geometry that they want to use in reality.
Rob, please, please.
What?
Right, we've not even started with Euclidean geometry, and you're talking about not Euclidean geometry.
Right, because that's exactly where they go.
Who?
Anybody that we discuss this with, right? Because we're here just to open. Forum to discuss things with people, right? And the model defenders all come in here and want to talk to us about using non-Euclidean geometry. but have no definition. Right? That I just want to address that they come in with no definition. And we're going to go over Euclidean definitions. I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Rob, you are right.
I just want to make sure we're all clear.
Yeah. You're absolutely right on what you're saying. They will go there, but what we're trying to do here first is explain what it actually is. Then maybe we
sorry,
can
my bad. I didn't mean to.
No. It's good. It's good.
I just want to make sure we're because the first thing they're going to do is talk non-Euclidean. Well, we want to address that by...
Rob, no. All we're going to do is I'm going to give you the definitions of Euclidean geometry. What other people do is of no consequence to me.
All right. Okay, I understand. We got people that come in here and want to talk to us.
Yeah. But they
want to bring.
They won't talk about this stuff. I'm telling you.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Because their geometry has no definition.
Yeah, well,
I'm not trying to stop us from going over. I would like to go over the definitions of Euclidean because that's what reality is. Then I just want to make sure that we're all aware that they're going to come in with non-Euclidean with no definitions, and they are anybody that model
or anybody that talks about the model.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that we're all clear.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think we're all clear.
Carry on then. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Whenever we're discussing anything, first off, clarify what it is you are talking about before doing anything. That's what goes on here. Now, obviously, because you're starting from nothing, there becomes a time where you have to start from nothing. So everything within this definitions, and you'll learn in a bit, that it's an axiomatic system, which means everything has to build on what was before it. And it can't... you can use what you've had before to build upon, or you can use it to prove something. And then you build, and then you go back and you prove. So everything is a... builds upon itself, but like it said at the beginning, you cannot define everything but some things have to be placed there because it's that sort of a system. So, point one, definition one, a point. Point is that which has no parts or which has no magnitude. Now, there's different definitions in different places of people, but the gist of this is it's all the same. It isn't anything. Can anybody keep an eye on the chat for us and make sure I'm not missing anything? Because the definitions. A pointer has no parts. It's nothing. It's not there. It's just, in reality, you'd have to say it's a location marker. It's you're just pointing at something.
Hold on, Bev. Let me interrupt you here for a second. John says they have no sound on YouTube.
No sound on YouTube. That's not nice. Let me check. Oh, yeah.
No, we're on YouTube.
Oh, no, it's there. That's working, isn't it? All good for me. Yeah, Mike says it's all good.
Oh, yeah, no, we're good on audio there.
I also just got a DM saying that the stream is going quiet sometimes and there are some issues.
Is it?
Sounds good on my end as well.
It's
Yeah,
better
maybe
now.
their connection might.
Yeah, is it connection? Maybe a Discord connection or something?
Or maybe the
I don't know,
volumes
guys.
are muted or
I think
something.
it
That,
says
you know,
it's
like-
okay. Okay, right, so everything looks like it's good.
Cool.
Go back to it. A point is nothing. It's not there. It is a nothing. It's just a location marker. That's it. So you can't do anything with a point. It's a nothing. So you can't have a line at a point. It doesn't exist. Anybody got anything else on the nothingness of a point? Other than what a brilliant place to start. Nowhere with nothing.
I must say that troubled me until I understood what that actually meant. I mean, what does it mean nothing? No, until it I understood finally what that means. Yeah, starting from nothing.
Yeah, that's the significance of it, I think.
Yeah.
Like in the greater scheme of things, you are literally defining nothing to start off with as your first step. It's
That
genius.
used to bother me. What do you mean that which has no parts? What do you mean, dude? Yeah, that really bugged me.
So from that, a line is length without breadth. Again,
That's another one that bugged me.
Like,
yeah.
What is that? That's even less describable than a 2D plane. It's nothing. It doesn't exist. It's length without breadth.
You mean you have length without width? What?
Or
What the
breadth.
hell you-
It's got
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
But it does show you this. That's one dimension. He starts off with nothing and then goes to the one dimension. It's a line.
Which is also fantasy. Doesn't exist in reality.
But as a concept, it works perfectly.
Yeah, as a
Right?
concept, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the only place that those two things cannot be proved. That's that's obvious. Those two things cannot be proved because one of them, well, neither of them are actually there. They don't exist anywhere. They're just concepts. But from that, probably can be proved, right? if you make a line and it has a start point and an end point, they're definitely there in reality, right? So those things from that point can be proved. Those points start becoming realizable, and then it says the next one is using what we've just known and building upon it. Is a straight line is that which lies evenly between its extreme points. So this is slightly different than I'm looking for the chart. What was that? It's like, yeah, it builds upon the other one. So a straight line is that which lies evenly between its extreme points. It's a description. Lies evenly. Is everyone happy with that? I mean, because everybody has all sorts of different definitions of the straight line. This is just Euclid.
Well, for me, until you draw it, it doesn't exist. It's just an idea.
Everyone okay with this? That because I mean, I do use a different definition for a straight line. I think my one's better, but that's me. Line is just something that connects the 2 points. And then the extremities of a line are the points. The points. Straight line is that which lies evenly between its extreme points. How do you build on that? You've just started. You've gone those 4 steps to make a straight line. Well, then you build upon that. A superficies, which is a surface, is that which has only length and breadth. Well, this, to me, if a line only has breadth, that's 1, and then a superficies, surface, shout out superficies, superficies has only length and breadth. Well, that's 2 dimensions.
That's 2D. Yeah.
That's where your 2D came from. 1D, a line. 2D, a plane.
Both
Not because somebody
conceptual
wrote
things.
it in a book. This is a very simple progression from nothing to a straight line. And, you know, this isn't something that somebody should be able to come along and go, well, you know, perhaps you weren't that clever. Perhaps at some point when they're doing this, perhaps he meant on a ball.
Somehow I doubt that.
But, you know, this is the sort of the point there that we're talking about. You know, like that bit where it says a straight line is that which lies evenly between its extreme points. At any point, did you think about the surface of a ball and that curving around it?
Not me.
Anybody think that Euclid, when he wrote this, might, by a way of the thing, might have meant and left it ambiguous enough for you to think that might have been round the ball?
No.
Me neither. And when he goes to the plane, is that which has only length and breadth. Well, that's a two-dimensional plane. Everybody knows what you're talking about. Two-dimensional plane. There's no curvature. There's only 2 dimensions. That's what we're dealing with Euclid. We're not taking any steps off now into doing equations and something. This is simple, step by step by step, for everybody to understand, and we've only started with the definitions. The extremities of a superficies surface are lines. We'll put boundaries to these surfaces. So that's it. He's just like built upon it and put a boundary to it. A plane superficies is that in which any 2 points being taken, the straight line between them lies wholly in that superficies surface. So a plane surface is that in which any 2 points taken, the straight line between them lies wholly in the surface. So it's saying that any 2 points, if you take a straight line between them, it would lie wholly within that plane surface again. So although we just agreed that it was a two-dimensional surface, Euclid, for some reason, seems to just clarify that the plane surface, the plane being that particular surface, in which any 2 points being taken, the straight line between them lies wholly in that surface. Clarifying again what a plane surface is. It contains all of the straight lines because it is that plane surface that we're talking about, and only that surface that we're talking about. Two-dimensional. We're not going anywhere else. We're staying in that.
Can I make just definition 3 and 6? The interesting point to me is the word extremities. He's using it both times, right? The extremities of a line and the extremities of the superficies. So it's just beautifully built up. And I'm saying it now because I know the word extremity is going to come up later. So that's why I'm just making the point now that that's really beautifully done.
Yeah, rather than the ends or...
Can I just ask a quick question about extremities then? It is like a termination point. Correct? Or it's a imaginary terminator point, like a stop point?
Well, if we go to number 3, the extremities of a line are points. So in this case, yes. Yeah, those are the end points of that line we're talking about. So in that case...
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand. All right.
But it's not necessarily the case for number 6, since the definition is that the extremities of a superficies are lines. That means, of course, that the entire line is the extremity and not just the point, even though at any point along the lines involved, that point will also be on the extremity. But I'm not sure you can... I'm not sure it's interchangeable between the two, if you see what I'm saying.
It sort of implies that there are extremities, like it said earlier. There's no need for an infinite line within this geometry because they always try and close the figures, right? There are extremities to be drawn.
Absolutely, yeah.
Possibly, I don't know. Rather than leaving it as being infinite.
Yeah, the potentially infinite. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with the extremities because the shapes, the figures, is what we're after eventually.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, we're building up there. You have to do it step by step. You can't skip ahead or anything like that.
Yeah, you can't skip a bit and then go, well, where did that come from? Right? Everything is laid out bit by bit by bit. So we go to the next one, right? A plane angle is the inclination of two lines to one another in a plane which meet together but are not in the same direction. A plane angle is the inclination of two lines to one another in a plane which meet together but are not in the same direction. Pretty simple. Oh, a minute, I need another one. I need the next one. Next definition. We start getting a little bit more technical, but it's not that bad. A plane rectilinear angle. Now, see in that last one, we go back to it because some people will say, well, you can imply, right? A plane angle is the inclination of two lines to one another in a plane which meet together but are not in the same direction. So has anybody got any imagined angles there that you think Euclid might be talking about, or do you think he's just laying a base for what an angle is, like he did with a line?
As I would say yes, that this is a foundational thing. Yeah.
He's just building. He's just using this as a building block to get to the more descriptive point. Of two straight lines. To one another which meet together but are not in the same straight line. It's quite important the way he structures this. I'll do it again. A plane rectilinear angle is the inclination of two straight lines to one another which meet together but are not in the same straight line. Not in the same straight line means that technically a plane rectilinear angle cannot be 180 degrees. That angle doesn't technically exist because it's a straight line. There's no point for you to say 180 degrees because it specifically says not in the same straight. You need two is the inclination of two straight lines to one another and can't be in the same straight line. So one straight line can't be two straight lines to make a rectilinear angle. straight lines as well. I mean, it definitely says two straight lines to one another. A plane rectilinear angle. The only angle that can be measured. That one. The only measurable angle available. And then it says, note, when several angles are at one point B, any one of them is expressed by the three letters, of which the letter which is at the vertex of the angle, that is at the point at which the straight line that contain the angle meet one another. It sounds a bit... You put the vertex in the center of the labeling the angle, so you would do A, B, D, A, B, C, and put the center at the center of the angle. Just in terms of labeling the way you would write it in order to point people towards where the angle is. That's just definition on the way, you know, they talk about stuff. Anybody got anything about the angle? Because it's quite early on in the definitional thing, but that's a pretty thorough part. That
You can't have an angle without two straight lines.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, see.
Touche.
Yeah. Yeah, he specifically says straight lines in it, so, I mean, that's all you need to know, right? About an angle. There's no other different angles. That is the angle. But, if you notice within it as well, there's no numbers involved in this. This isn't math and equations and pi and all of that sort of stuff. That doesn't come into this. This is just real basic stuff. But I mean, these are the foundations that you build upon, and they are very good foundations. This is as solid as you get. Number 10. When a straight line, again straight line, standing on another straight line makes the adjacent angles equal to one another, each of the angles is called a right angle, and the straight line which stands on the other is called perpendicular to it. Perpendicular, that's the right angle.
And here again, here you can notice there is not a number put to this angle. It's right angle.
Yeah, and that right in the I'm guessing true sense of the word right does mean true. Means straight, but I mean the S was added to it. So right is the meeting of two right lines, making a right angle. That's very important, that, because that is the definition of perpendicular, wrote within the definitions of Euclid, telling you about two straight lines. And it's giving it a name, that one particular position. That is that right angle and that relationship is that important. They added and made a new word for that relationship of two straight lines. That's very important when you come to understand an argument later on. These foundations that you're building this on at the minute is the stuff that will give you your foundations of what you're going to be talking about and arguing with people for.
So, can I ask a question now?
Yeah.
Okay. a straight line standing on top of a curved line, what would that be called? Is it defined?
Not
or
yet.
would we need... Okay. I'll back off then. I'll wait.
We're just dealing with straight lines. I mean, I'm not even too sure yet whether we get to circle. We might do. Yeah, we just build it up. There's no need to jump forward into other things. Most people do.
So you know where I was going with that then, right?
Well, we'll get
To
there.
the model
We'll
of
get
Euclid.
there. Perhaps
Okay.
Perhaps it's not a thing.
It might not be a thing. I get it, but they want to make it a thing.
We're not bothered about they.
All right,
They
cool.
might be listening in. They might not want to make
I know.
this. Yeah.
they can come up with some new words, man. Anyway, okay, carry on. I'm sorry.
All right. Anybody else? Because that is definition 10 is probably the most important definition there is, and you've probably heard it lots already. To a presupposed surface perpendicular. We won't go there though.
Oh, I just want to make the point that we are definitely not talking in this definition 10. It's definitely not talking about this situation that Rob just brought up. Those are two very different situations.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is like we said, this is just lines on paper at the minute. Right? No, nobody needs to get fretting about all of this stuff. All we're doing is talking about two-dimensional lines on paper. So this is perpendicular, and this is it. Description of the word perpendicular at right angles to. Important that the right angle, right? It's not giving it a number. The numbers must have been come at another time, after this, or the group of people that wrote this decided we want to purposely keep numbers out of it. Numbers aren't needed. This is just purely logic, talking about lines and stuff. So, anyway, having defined the right angle first, we then go on to describe. It's almost as though the right angle is like the straight line. Like, that relationship is then something that then gets built upon. So, from the straight line, the progression to two straight lines, then to an angle, and then to the right angle, and now we're building and relating things to the right angle. It says that an obtuse angle is that which is greater than a right angle. An acute angle is that which is less than a right angle. They're just obtuse. Ooh, you always turn up. Ooh, why you gotta be so obtuse? That's what Nutsack used to say. And the other one's cute. He never used to call me cute. A cutie. Just always obtuse.
And I think this is why or at least one of the reasons why you say that definition 10 is one of the most important ones. Because the next two definitions right after that go straight back and references definition 10.
We're not going to shadow ban. you like you do to me, and ban you like you do to me.
Yeah, like, why you gotta be like that, Bob? You know, you could just be a normal human being with feelings, stuff.
And we don't ban words on this channel. We allow free speech.
Yeah, and he's put it is specifically, if that is whoever that guy, or at research flat moon, it says it is specifically perpendicular to the tangent of the curve.
Yeah, but see, hey, spot on. Sarugaki, we were just talking about, this is the question I brought up. They want a perpendicular without two straight lines.
Yeah. But the thing is, though,
that's
Rob,
not what he's saying. He's drawing
That's
a tangent
exactly-
to a circle, and then he's drawing a perpendicular to the tangent, which is even worse kind of a wizard trick, because he has put the circle down from nowhere, just put that in there. Yeah,
it's
so
irrelevant. Yeah, exactly.
Good job, Bob.
Oh, there's more. I'm not going to read it out because it doesn't warrant that.
And you know, at the top of the page here, it says Euclid's elements. We're at definition 10, 11, 12. That's what is actually in Euclid. So what anybody wants to say in chat or anywhere else for that matter, like this is what the Euclid's elements actually say. So you can have as many like opinions and arguments around not opinions and arguments, but like you can say what you will about it, but it's laid down as a definition in Euclid. So you know that comes first.
Yep, free speech. There's nothing that you can say, Bob, that you'll get banned from here, unless, of course, you start insulting and swearing. But anything scientific like, you won't get banned, unlike your channel that professes to be about the globe, but we can't ask questions. What's that all about?
I wonder if, whoever that guy is, whether or not he actually started from the beginning. You know, whether he went through Euclid, the book of Euclid.
Yeah, I don't think he started the show with us, so I don't think he was here for definitions 1 through 10,
Oh, yeah.
which are really important if you want to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just start chucking.
You could always, you could always come in at definition 11 and be a pretentious prick. That's allowed, I guess.
I think there are two straight lines, the tangent and the line perpendicular to it. Why a tangent? It's horizontal.
Well, see, yeah, so we have not gotten that far in elements at all. We are on perpendicular, which are two straight lines with the right angle relationship between the two. There is no circle. Like, we haven't even gotten close to the circle yet. We're only on definition 10, 11, 12, you know.
Yeah, well said. And as Rob said, I mean, he may have come late and therefore he may want to just, you know, maybe pause, rewind, sorry, and then catch up. Otherwise, if he's missed the first bit, well, it's pretty tricky to like.
Yeah, I'd like maybe go back to the beginning and then play it at like 1.5 or 2 times speed just to get caught up, and then join the conversations and not be a pretentious prick. It works out way better for everybody.
Well, that's right. I mean, he's showing his colours. He's putting it out, you know, as words in public. So, you know, it's fine.
Just for the record, Bob or Blue are welcome to join after and have any discussion they like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Robin, I don't think there's any need for name calling.
I wasn't calling anybody names. I was saying you can be a pretentious prick if you want. You're allowed to do that.
Oh,
it's not recommended, but you can do that. You have that right.
Oh, my
It's not
bad.
recommended. I wouldn't want to be that kind of guy.
Got it.
Seems as though you've forgotten, mate. So you might want to go back to it. That's all. That's what I'm saying now.
I've got back. Made a brew as well. Thank you very much, keeping it going for us. I see we've got some adult globe earthers in to learn about basic geometry. Book 3 will be the bit that you guys will be excited about, but wait a minute, it's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, most folks go through this around age 12. Well, maybe he wants to revisit. It's been a while. Yeah?
Yeah. His favourite bit will be coming up in a bit as well.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, yeah, don't miss it.
Yeah.
Well, I would suggest rewinding it and going through what we've already been through. Otherwise, he's coming in a bit late there, isn't he? If he hasn't established a straight line, then it falls apart.
Yeah, he'll be back in a bit. Good for you, Bob. Go back to your live stream. Don't worry about us. Right. Here we go. Definition number 13. Carrying on.
Ooh.
A term, I don't think that's been used for years, has it? Have you ever heard of that? A term or boundary is the extremity of anything.
Oh, no, because, the term is, I kind of thought it was like a definition.
Yeah, it's like a termination, right? Like the end of, right?
Yeah, cool.
At school, it's the end of a term.
Right.
Well, or like term, is the end of time. Like, if you serve your time, you did your term. Like like presidents, they serve a term.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're only allowed 2 terms.
It's never been used as a geometric thing. I've never heard of it anyway.
Yeah. Terminated line, though, like you say,
Yeah. It has its roots within the structure of words still, but doesn't seem to be. And the interesting that he also uses a term or boundary is the extremity of any thing, right? A thing being something. Right, it's sort of physicalizing it, isn't it? As a thing, rather than just a thought or something, right? Just the way I look at it, right? That nobody needs to take anything we say, Bob, Blue. Don't be getting all upset. You can think of anything you want. This is just about lines and stuff. Basic logic meant to be discussed, obviously. This stuff works, so however you talk about it is irrelevant. It's just what it means to everybody. And the next one, a figure is that which is enclosed by one or more boundaries. A figure. I thought that was quite interesting when you think of figure skating.
Yeah.
Enclosed. Something that's enclosed by one or more boundaries. And what do you mean one or more? Well, what's a one boundary?
Yeah, exactly.
Get ready, boys.
Go on.
A circle. It's globe. It's globe. A circle is a plane figure contained by one line, which is called the circumference, and is such that all straight lines drawn from a certain point within the figure to the circumference. Rob.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I just started to start up.
From a certain point within the figure to the circumference are equal to one another.
Yeah, I was thinking, how many straight lines does it take to create a circle?
a circle is a plane figure contained by one line, which is called the circumference. I mean, this is a pretty big definition. This is, you know, is on the scheme of things, right? But it is a circle. Now, how do you define a circle? I mean, that's why this is big. Circle is a plane figure. So there you go. It's on a 2D. It's a plane. The plane was described earlier on, so you can build upon that. A circle is a plane figure contained by one line, which is called the circumference. Everybody knows that. There's only circumference to a circle. And is such that all straight lines drawn from a certain point within the figure to the circumference are equal to one another. So what it's sort of saying is the circle is just a series of straight lines, or a series of, if you consider your compass as being 2 points, it is all of the straight lines from that point to the extremity. It's just a series of straight lines. Circle, plane figure contained by one line, which is called the circumference. And it's the straight lines, like they're also part of the definition of this figure. It's quite important when you later realize that the circle can't really be described. If you lose the center point of the circle, then you can't draw any straight lines to measure angles or distances or anything, and you're stuck. It's literally a weird shape that you can't really do anything with. And then it goes to 16. So a circle is a plane figure contained by one line, which is called the circumference, and is such that all straight lines drawn from a certain point within the figure to the circumference are equal to one another. 16. And this point is called the center of the circle. I think that's really weird, the way he's decided to fit that or separate it out, or I don't know. At some point somebody's obviously decided maybe if you put the radius at the center of the circle, you know, like within it, then it becomes a bit much of a definition. What's anybody else think on that?
Because this one was very interesting to me when I got to this one, and especially later on in the postulates, but let's stay here for now. First he goes on and talks about a certain point within the figure, the circle, which is the point where all lines drawn to the circumference, all straight lines drawn to the circumference, will be equal. And I think that's done so that you can take that definition 15, and then you can basically come across any circle, and then back, as in you can find the center of it through this definition.
I suppose
I'm not
so.
sure. Yeah,
Does seem to be like the, you know, like, but I was thinking it more of the way of if I were to do it, you know, if I were doing it, then the only way I would be able to make or whatever the figure of a circle, you would need that center point to start off with.
I would agree, yeah.
So it does seem backwards to put the center afterwards. But it's just one of those, unless, right, he had to go because beforehand, right, is a figure is that which is enclosed by one or more boundaries. Starts to make more sense now. He's having to describe the boundary first and then develop the center of it, through the circle. What do you reckon? In order to keep it all flowing.
Yeah, he doesn't mention the center point. He says the straight line is drawn from a certain point, not a center point.
Yeah.
Within the figure, yeah.
Because you've started with a plane and then you've gone from two straight lines to make it an angle. And then he's gone straight to the term or boundary is the extremity of anything.
Mm.
And now he's redefining anything into shapes and stuff.
If he'd have swapped that certain in that 15 there and put point, and as such all straight lines drawn from from a certain point. So if he didn't put
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you you look where he's come from. He's come from a figure that is enclosed by one or more lines. So now he's using that to build upon, which is that. And then he needs to, in order to get to the center of the circle, it's a really weird rote.
Well, it's like, like we've all struggled before to describe a circle without mentioning the center point.
Yeah. And that only does the entire work. Once you start build upon from nothing all the way up, but even the definitions are done in such a way that everything builds upon what came before. So it's dead easy to trace your steps. If you've made a mistake, backtrack. Boom. Bebby's getting excited. Nice one, Bebby. We haven't got 5 postulates, so we'll get there before you anyway. Be interesting. You should come over for a chat, Bebby. I mean, you think you should be doing this. I mean, I thought you were Logic Man. So yeah, I think that's why he's done it like that. He wrote it in a certain way to direct themselves to the center of the circle, and then hence where we go from there. So the diameter of a circle is a straight line drawn through the center and terminated both ways by the circumference, the circle. Circumference. A radius in brackets afterwards as well, right? A radius of a circle is a straight line drawn from the center to the circumference. Almost as if it's not a definition or anything.
Yes. Oh, I see, yeah.
It's half a line, half a
part of.
Yeah. It's just half a diameter. As if they've added a different, another name for it. But it's not within the definitions. They're just tagging it in there, radius.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be safe to say that there is no definition for R? Or just a tagged one in afterwards? I wonder who put that in.
Yeah, I wonder why they did that.
Yeah.
I'll have to check my book, actually. I'm going to check it in a minute. Actually. See how it's read.
Semicircle is the figure contained by a diameter and the part of the circumference cut off by the diameter. The semicircle is the figure contained by the diameter and the part of the circumference cut off by the diameter. But when you hear semicircle, you know what it is. It's one of those things. It's like it's there.
Semi.
Hot mic in blood, are you? Somebody want to Rob Keane, bloods for us.
I'll take a picture of mine, Bev, because there's differences, right?
Is there?
Yeah.
Chuck it in the agent.
Yeah. Hold on, it'll take me a few seconds. I've got to get the camera. 2 minutes.
I muted bloods.
You can carry on, but I'll
Okay.
I'll put it in there anyway. I mean, if there is, I'll check it again in a minute. It's in Roman numerals. Because it's in English, not Latin. The actual words. We'll figure it out. It's in a minute.
Here we go. 19 then. Segment of a circle is the figure contained by a straight line and the circumference which it cuts off. It's the part of a circle. Less than obviously semicircle. Rectilinear figures, rectilineal. Straight lines. Figures are those which are contained by straight lines. So that's what rectilinear means. Rect is a straight line. It's weird that I think Rumpus had a test, didn't he? What was he called his test? The rectum test. Rect. Straight line test. It was genius.
Wrecked them, pretty near killed them. Sorry, had to.
Just to point it out also, the rectilineal figures are those which are contained by straight lines, meaning the circle is not one of these.
Yes.
Right, okay. I'll put it. Where do you want me to put it, Bev? In the private roles?
Put it in agents.
Oh,
Agents live.
Oh, it's a new one.
Definitions. Anybody else has got any different definitions of these books?
There you go.
Willing to come in, put them in here. Let's have a
Quick
look.
look at that.
Where'd you put it? Oh, there you
Agents Live, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it's the first
And
one.
this point is called the centre of the circle. Diameter of the circle is a straight line drawn through the centre and terminated both ways by the circumference. Yeah, that's pretty good. Semicircle is the figure contained by the diameter and part of the circumference cut off by the diameter.
Yeah, but there's something missing, isn't there? If you go to 15.
Yeah, you mean the radius, right?
Yeah. Read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw that. Sorry, I didn't know if you spotted that.
Yeah, and when's your book from?
Hold on. I think it was 18. 1803.
I'll go and have a look at my 1871. This is Isaac John Hunter as well, so.
Yeah. I'll take a picture of it because it's pretty cool. The actual page that it's got the date on it, and just so everyone knows.
This is Isaac John Hunter's got it in the old copy as well, 1871.
What was that?
My older copy of this book, the Isaac John Hunter one, has also got the, like even in brackets, exactly the same print as the one I've got.
All right.
So we can say that it's somewhere in between, in a rewrite between the early 1800s and 1871. They added R.
Mm-hmm.
Up until then, it was just the diameter. Maybe a half diameter or something like that. I don't know what they were doing. Quadrant. But, yeah. Interesting.
Very.
Don't get upset, guys. Don't get upset.
How is the chat going anyway? Is there any...
Yeah, I'm not really looking at the chat.
No.
I'm sure if there would be something interesting, somebody will let me know. Rectilinear figures are those which are contained by straight lines. Well, how many? Do we need to bother with that? All right, let's have a look. Starts off with trilateral figures or triangles. So trilateral, 3 straights, figures or triangles by 3 straight lines. Because then, don't they, I have heard of trilateration, right? And that's supposedly different than triangulation somehow, isn't it? But I mean, it does say there, number 21, trilateral figures or triangles by 3 straight sides, 3 straight lines. Doesn't appear to be any difference between trilateral and triangle. The lines and the angles. The lines make the angles. The lines make the triangle. Can't have angles or triangles without lines. Same
so
thing.
Lateral, do you remember lateral was to the side? Yeah. Because it was lateral because it was
human body, was it?
Well, a tree
Yeah.
had lateral branches, but yeah. So it was a side.
Yeah.
3 sides figures. So I wonder, if lateral is side. 3-sided figures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quadrilateral figures by 4 quad. Like more than four. I wonder why. Anyone? Got any ideas?
Imagine all the angles you could build in a polygon, and imagine sitting there and defining the names and everything of all of the potential ones.
Yeah. But anyone got any idea why he stops at 4?
Because the right angles.
Yeah, I was just gonna go there too.
Yeah. That's all you need, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
For the basic, you can build upon it and get whatever you want. But we're just dealing with the core basics here. Like the basic fundamentals of what you need in order to gain a firm understanding of the basics, right? The core. And everything, missing nothing. Said in the simplest way possible to give you the most basic proofs. So once we've described all of the different types of shapes, then we go in to define the shapes even more. And we go back to the triangle. I mean, again, it's not a surprise that these are the things that are defined Well, it's not funny to just get another picture of this one. Doing it live. Right, so what's that one? Of three-sided figures, an equilateral triangle is that which has the three sides. That's pretty simple. One of the most basic things, and that is the first thing we come to when it comes to what we're dealing with soon. 1813. All of the old books seem to have been gifted to people. There's always writing on the front cover, as in to somebody from something else, and it's all handwritten like they were.
Yeah, it meant something.
They were gifts. Yeah.
I like that handwriting on the one I've put up there. That's is that what you're saying? Sorry, I missed that bit.
Yeah. My old book as well, the one I've got, does have a, to such and such an old name or whatever.
Yeah. Well, all the old books, the other two, Practical Geometry is one. They've all got that in the front. They've all been gifted, or at some point in time, whether it was the original, the buyer or not, I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, is Bob? Somebody upsetting Bob in the chat. I don't. Never mind. Right.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Triangles. An isosceles triangle is that which has two sides equal. This is another one of the important things that we're going to be going over, and also this is the Bridge of Asses, which is a proposition within Euclid pretty early on that is very much related to some of the stuff we will be going over, or we have been going over in practical geometry. In reality, the isosceles triangle. A scalene triangle is the one that nobody ever bothers about.
Is that the one with 60 degrees? Oh no, it's not. Sorry, no.
No,
I got given a triangle today, and it's someone that goes to second-hand shops, and it's a wooden one. It's got no measurements on it, and it's really quite old, and it's thin, really thin, and it's only about 300 a foot long, and about 6 inches or 7 inches high, roughly. I'm going to give you a rough scale, but it's about 1.5 inches diameter, the wood, and it's been biscuited, and it's got these little pegs have been put in. It's just a beautiful piece of work. I mean, yeah, I was given one of them today. Talking about triangles, but I thought that was one of them then, but it's not. It's got a 90 degree, a 60, and a 30 on this.
Yeah, well, that one could be. Scalene triangle is that which has three unequal sides. So.
Oh, there is a 90 at the top, isn't there?
Yeah, well, it could, it could be, but.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's the sort of shape that everybody always goes to when they draw a triangle. There's always one that's normally, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's just three unequal sides.
Well, that's what I got given today. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
A right angle triangle is that which has a right angle. These ones have, although they're all triangles, it's just definitions of triangles, so there's obviously something important for him to make a definition individually of every point that he is talking about, because they must be used, otherwise there would be no need for him to define them, unless it's a progression, to get from one point to another within the definitional and keeping it within the axiomatic thing. So triangles, and this is another important point as well. It says, which is, I don't know. Can you check this? 27 in your book.
Sorry. Yeah.
Definition 27.
Oh yeah, right. I just read it. Yeah.
Right angle triangle is that which has a right angle, and then brackets afterwards, which is the side opposite to the right angle in a right angle triangle, is frequently called the hypotenuse.
Well, that's an addition.
Well,
And
that is,
so
yeah,
every time
it is
you-
frequently
yeah.
called it today, and it obviously was when this was the rewrite. But I bet
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
in yours, is it?
No. So is it that? Yeah. Anything. It's not the oldest one you got, is it?
No, but this is the Isaac Todd Hunter rewrite. The one
Yeah. So
that
what
I'm
year is
going
that?
off.
Sorry. What do you know? What roughly?
Oh, in the 1850s,
Oh,
I
right.
think he
Oh,
first
yeah.
rewrote it.
Oh, I thought you were talking into the sort of even the 20th century, but no, still early. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, you've got numbers on yours, and mine's still in, like I said, in the Latin, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly when.
Oh, sorry, don't worry about it. I'm just.
Right, okay. So, an obtuse angle triangle is that which has an obtuse angle, and an acute angle triangle is that which has 3 acute angles. So the obtuse angle triangle is that which has an obtuse angle, and an acute angle triangle is that which has 3 acute angles.
So that would be something like a 60-60-60.
Yeah, but he's making the point that
Oh, that would be an
you can only
equilateral.
have one obtuse angle within a
Yeah.
triangle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Of 4-sided figures. 30. A square is that which has all its sides equal and all its angles right angles. I mean, there's many ways. Has that gone out? Out of favour, that. I remember oblongs, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So it was the difference between the rectangle and
Yeah.
the oblong, wasn't it?
Yeah, an
Well,
oblong
I mean,
is a rectangle.
yeah.
Same thing, but I think it was just being phased out, perhaps.
Well, the oblong hasn't got 4 right angles, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is
Sorry,
a
I thought it was the
rectangle.
one that
It's
was
the
slightly
same
off.
thing.
Oh, I thought it was the one that was, you know what I mean, slightly off kilter. You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
rhombus. That's the next one.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
A rhombus.
Mixed up me rhombuses and I and me oblongs.
I need to get another picture. A rhombus is that. Go on, read that out for us.
A rhombus is that which has all its sides equal, but its angles are not right angles. That's what I've got in mine.
Yeah.
Is that the same as yours? Yeah.
Yep, exactly the same.
Mhm.
Right, next one. Definition 33.
Hold on, you've got a I've got a rhomboid on the end of mine.
Yeah,
Oh, is that what
so
you're
I
on
have.
that? Yeah,
Number
yeah, yeah,
33. Are you on 33?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, just it's 3 X's and 3 straight lines.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
33.
Mhm.
A rhomboid. That's it. Is that which has all its opposite sides equal to one another, but all its sides are not equal, nor its angles right angles. It's like a knot shape, in it.
Mm. Yeah, where would you use that? That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's parallels, though, right? Does it say parallel or not? Oh, look at that. It doesn't say parallel, right? They're keeping it out. Sneaky. They're trying not to use it. Because he hasn't had... He doesn't really want to have to define that. I don't think. 34.
Yeah. Okay.
All other four-sided figures beside these are called trapeziums.
Oh.
Just weird shaped things, as long
Yeah,
as
yeah.
it's got four sides.
Oh, what's your next one then?
Oh, 35.
Yeah.
Parallel straight lines are such as are in the same plane and which, being produced ever so far both ways, do not meet.
Ever so far.
Yeah. What's yours say? Something like
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it makes the point that straight lines, but it also says in the same plane. What?
Mm.
That's almost like it's a bit of a weird addition, because we're talking about plane geometry.
Mm.
Surely
Yeah,
they've
making
got
a
to be in
point.
the same plane. I thought that's what we were doing. You don't.
Yeah,
It never makes that stipulation within with a square or anything, does it?
Mm.
It's weird, right? Almost as though it's not really needed.
No, if he hadn't have put that in, how would it have affected it?
I don't think it would have affected anything. I personally, it looks to me in the same plane. Does yours say?
That no. No, it's
Yeah,
not
I
really.
reckon it's just like, all right, guys, all right, I'll leave them in the same. Yeah, in the same plane. Yeah,
exactly.
fucking hell.
I'll tell you what, my version, I've got a commentary one that mentions this one about the parallel straight lines in the same plane. And he comments that this definition forms the basis of the attempt of Agenis, I think is how you pronounce it, to prove the postulate of parallels. And on the definition, Simplicius remarks that the words situated in the same plane are perhaps unnecessary, since if the distance between the lines is everywhere the same and one does not incline at all towards the other, they must, for that reason, be in the same plane. So he seems to be saying it was somebody that was trying to prove the postulate of parallels, whatever that is.
Yeah, we'll get there in a bit. It's somebody fucking about with it, right? Because we're talking about plane geometry. We've set the superficies at the beginning. That's where all of these figures and everything are drawn. It states it earlier on that in the same plane is a shout out to you know, a nod and a wink, right? They're telling you, they're dicking about with this. That's the trick that's being performed. Is there in that particular bit? It's allowing for wiggle room somewhere at a later date, but nobody's managed to work it out yet. The boys will tell you. Oh, look, Bab's in there. He'll tell you all about this. And then it goes on. There's a few notes in this one, but I mean, you'll find notes in all of them about how people are, you know, it's been changed and different meanings of what different things, and that's the terms oblong and rhomboid are not often.
We don't believe in spherical geometry. Does he have definitions for his spherical geometry?
No, we're doing Euclid.
But this was what I started when we started. This is what I said was going to happen,
I'm not,
and he's already done it. His first sentence in here.
Their own. Anytime he wants to start up a spherical geometry thing, we'll all be glad to watch it. And we're not doing that. We're doing Euclid, the basics.
Understood. Thank you. I just wanted to address it. Thanks, Bev.
Just basic Euclid at the minute. Building it all up, right? So we've just finished all of the definitions, ending up with a very strange one that seems like it's been tagged on at the end of anything, right? Because surely, in defining a square, you are also defining parallel. Although it hasn't been defined, you've sort of expressed it in the way that you were talking all right angles. So I'd suggest that the trick that is about to be played about the, as Bebby says, are you keeping an eye on this, Bebby? Yeah. The geometry of what he calls the fifth postulate, but there's only 3. So, after a rather strange definition that definitely stated parallel straight lines. Let it be granted that 1. A straight line may be drawn from one point to any other point. So, implication of a straight line ruler. You can draw a straight line from one point to another. Implication giving you the rights to use a tool to be able to do that in order to form a straight line. 2. That a terminated straight line may be produced to any length in a straight line. Fair enough. You are allowed to produce a straight line. Do you know how to? Ooh, find out whether we can or not. But I mean, you are allowed to just extend a straight line, a terminated straight line, whenever you want, within the rules of geometry. Postulates. And 3. And that a circle may be described from any centre at any distance from that center. I think I've got I've got the axioms. So that's described.
As in the sense of like drawn out, like put down on paper kind of a thing, as in the word scribe there.
That's the way I'd have that one, yes. Described, as in you can actually draw it. That's why I think the way these particular book's been wrote, maybe, I don't know the definitions of it, is to keep it like this, where so the postulates are that which can be done, and the axioms are the different ones. So this is sort of the bit that says you can use a compass to scribe that line, or, you know, some means to scribe it and draw it, and yeah, tells you how to draw out a circle, but it being from 2 points from any may be described from any center at any distance from that center. 2 points. That being like a straight line can be drawn from that, but and here we go. Favorite bit. These are the axioms, but they've been put together with the common notations lumped together. This is where most of the rewrites are. Shift change in the trolls. You keep them busy, guys. So the common notations are just things that I don't know whether they were just put in for a sense of roundness, to, you know, all encompassing sort of things. I think they had them within the foundations of stuff that they must have had a group meeting to say, we're going to have to get these are, you know, the basic understandings of things. Like, some of them go a little bit anal, if anything, but judge for yourself. Axioms, number 1. The axioms are meant to be self-evident things, which, I mean, you judge for yourself. Things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. Now, I don't know about you, Saragaki, and all of that. We've been doing the logic. This is, to me, the formulation of logic.
Like, yeah, within the axioms here on your page, they do build on each other. Like, the first one builds to the second and so forth. So I would agree to that.
Couldn't you even write these, you know, in a logical way, right? You know, like,
as an if P,
you know, like if the things they're teaching you the formulation of logic. But it's pre-logic. It's before that, you know, weird way of doing it. This is just the way that they said it. So if equals be added to equals, the wholes are equal. So it's an even. If you add an even number to an even number, then you know, if you add equal things together, then the wholes are also equal. Two odds also make, you know, it's just, if equals be taken from equals, the remainders are equal. I mean, this isn't really like rocket science or anything. This is like most people were saying or whatever. This is this is the basics of the basic fundamentals of everything. I can see Bebby chomping at his bits.
Yeah, it's also to just have it laid down so that you have that as a reference. So for all future points after this point, you know, then
Yeah.
all of these things on this page holds true, which of course they are basically self-evident, if we are even allowed to say that word, you know. But yeah, it's you have to lay it down to move forwards, because otherwise you can end up in a disagreement later on. So I think it's important to lay all of this down.
Yeah. Because, like, if you were to say a circle, and you split a circle in half, and you have two straight lines with a diameter and two semicircles, well, then it would be wrong to say you have more than 100 or more than the sum of two right angles on each side of that, because then the sides wouldn't be equal. He's sort of laying down I think they are laying down everything that they're going to need to continue on. You can't just generate a law of non-contradiction out of nowhere, can you? Within this system.
No, you can't come in after the fact and change things up. That's no.
Within the axioms, everything's building. So if equals be taken from unequals, the remainders are unequal. It's sort of mathematical, isn't it? You know, like this is sort of what you do with numbers. You know, as you were growing up in childhood, and you know you're adding numbers together. That's what this is like, but it's not using numbers. It's just using equals and unequals. Things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. Things which are halves of the same thing are equal to one another. Each half is the same because you've said half. Maybe he's just covering the backs and all of that, right? Magnitudes which coincide with one another, that is, which exactly fill the same space, are equal to one another. Have you heard about that one? That one's comes in. There's some sort of a contention that somebody has with transposing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, can you imagine the person that came up with that? Like, you know, that the people that have wrote this, to have to write that into it, they must have been dealing with people. Oh, can you imagine? I mean, we're obviously dealing with much more and much worse. But I mean, when they were writing this, in order for them to write that in, Genius.
They definitely created a closed Discord room for that.
Yeah. Can we? It's like, do we have to? It's like, yep, you know, Tom. Tom.
You gotta write it down for him.
Tom will be saying, you know, the whole could be greater than less than the part. You know, could be shorter than a straight line. Right?
Yep.
Shout out
Yep.
our buddy Bob.
I'd have to put that in. If I was doing one, I would have to put that in. There can be no line shorter than the straight line between points. Shout out, Bob. Number 10. Again, another one of my favourites, but spot on. Are you still there?
Ready, I'm waiting.
Do you have, in the axioms, do you have number 10?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I've got that, yeah. Yeah, I'm on the next page. Sorry.
Two straight lines cannot enclose a space.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Again.
Simple but effective.
Can you imagine, almost like the whole is greater than its part. Can you imagine why somebody might have had to have wrote two straight lines cannot enclose a space into an axiomatic system? Anyone? Any idea at all?
That one there is very interesting. Like, what do you say about it? It is self-evident, but why is it there? That is a good question. There must be a reason, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. And I'd say it might have something to do with the fact that, like Bebby said, he only thought there was 5.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like that one disappeared. It's gone. Poof. Vanished. And all of those, in fact, if you look at whatever anybody else was looking at, those 3 postulates from earlier on, 1, 2, 3, and all of the axioms up to number 10, the one we've just talked about, gone, disappeared. There's only 5 postulates, Bebby thinks. But that one particularly, we will definitely go back to that at some point when somebody brings up an argument, as they will. But I mean, we are only on plane geometry at the minute, but keep an eye on that one. Number 11. Oh, do you want to have a word? Do you want to say something?
Yeah. On number 10, it's 2 straight lines cannot enclose a space, but can you imagine 1 straight line enclosing a space? Because, I mean, you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I know. That's the bigger trick.
Yeah.
First off, you have to do 2. Straight lines cannot enclose a space. Which I like. The common term for that one is even when they're on the same straight line. Every one of them exactly equal to one another. 2 right lines. That's another good one. We can use all of these. Remember, all of these are axioms, self-evident truths that we can use for us to give proofs. Ready, Bebby? You'll like this one. Welcome to Euclid. This is the 12th axiom, commonly known as the triangle axiom. And the triangle axiom states, if a straight line, that's one straight line, meet two straight lines, that's three straight lines. So a straight line meet two straight lines, so as to make the two interior angles on the same side of it. So that's the one straight line, and the other two are meeting it on one side of that straight line. At the angle on the same the interior angles on the same side of it taken together less than two right angles. These straight lines being continually produced shall at length meet on the side which the angles which are less than two right angles. Bit of a mouthful, that, but probably one of the most important axioms there is, stating that a triangle is formed on the side which there are less than two right angles, because the portion that it is less than two right angles will be the remainder of the two right angles. Less than pi angles.
It says, shall at length meet on that side on which are the no, is that what it actually says? Shall at length meet on that side on which are the angles which are less than two right angles. On the second page we went over the obtuse and the acute one, so this should be quite obvious what it's saying if you're following from page 2, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just sorting the board out, see whether I can get a drawing out on the board.
Yeah, because if you have let's say you have a baseline horizontal and you draw two perpendiculars to it at whatever distance away from each other, that's going to be two right angles. In between those two is going to be two right angles. And so if the sum of these two angles are less than two right angles, you're going to form a triangle, because those lines will meet at some point in the distance.
Oh no. There you go. Look at that.
Bev, I know you're busy, mate. Are you keeping an eye on the chat?
No, somebody else keep an eye on the chat for us.
Yeah, no, we are. Yeah, we all are. Yeah, it's fine. But Bender's put an offer out there for you. I don't know if you heard, but he said give over, whatever that means in.
Can you see that?
To you.
Right. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, we see that.
Right. So it says, let me see, read that out. It says Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this mic over it. It says, if a straight line meet two straight lines, so here's one straight line, and these two straight lines, right? So they're meeting. So as to make the two interior angles on the same side of it taken together less than two right angles. So these two angles on this side here are more than two right angles. So these times this side is less than two right angles. Taken together less than two. These straight lines, these two, being continuously produced, shall at length meet on the side which are the angles which are less than two right angles. So if you extend these lines, they will meet on here because it's on the side which have less than two right angles. So whatever the remainder is of the two right angles on this side here goes here at this end of the triangle. It's sort of saying that this triangle here will have 180 degrees, or the sum of two right angles in totality.
Are you placing sorry Bev, are you placing two right angles on the bottom now, on that bottom line? Or are they less than on the right hand side?
So here.
Yeah.
Right? That's less than two
90. Oh sorry, right angles.
right angles.
Yeah.
Here. This side will be more than two right angles. So when they come to meet, they'll have the here, and this one, the other angle down there, will be the remainder of the two right angles, making the triangle have the sum of two right angles, triangles, within it. Straight lines, three straight lines make a triangle.
Brilliant. Genius, isn't it?
Hence the triangle.
Has anyone got any questions?
Yeah. Has anyone any problems with anything that we've gone over? I mean, it is all pretty self-evident. It keeps going on about some parallel stuff. I don't know. That's just a triangle. That's what it states. The parallel lines were a definition, baby. So we've sorted out the triangles. Go through the axioms. Everything checks out. Everything seems to follow logically. I couldn't see any problems with it. Like I say, I think this book is perfect. It's flawless. It's unfalsifiable. It's lasted for centuries. I don't know how long that is. A long time.
The reference I'm using while I'm checking the elements is
whenever I was brought into it?
Not me. I can't even remember the name Euclid being ever used during like the 10 first years of school. I mean, I could have just forgotten. I mean, of course, but yeah.
And it's that simplicity that comes through the definitions to the axioms and the postulates that give you the foundation of what you're going to go forwards with. Now, there's going to be some people crying already, I know, in the chat. Model afflicted. Screaming about a definition. Definition 35. It always gets them. I don't know what they're going on about. It's no problem. Triangles do have 180 degrees, and I think Bebby's saying he's upset with it. Bebby, I'm not too sure. A triangle is formed on the side. Yeah, and parallel lines are So, does that sound like a good place? What time is it? To leave this for next time? Or do you want, we got people that want to come and join the conversation, or are they just text chat trolls?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shoot on. I know there's enough people here to carry on, so that's, I might have to drop off. But you carry on, guys.
Yeah, Bev, 100%. They're just text trolls. They're not interested in having a legitimate, honest conversation.
Well, I mean,
they would rather insult and attack.
Lines. I don't know what they would be doing. I'll go over them.
Boys, Mum's in bed asleep. Shush. Shush.
Spot on.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question though, Bev, about if this is a good place to stop or not.
Yeah.
I would say yes, because then we could take the propositions as a standalone thing, because that's gonna take time.
Oh yeah. Like maybe one at a time or whatever, to work through it. But I mean, that's up to people. I mean, obviously, Model Afflicted have got really upset about straight lines and stuff. Basic geometry, is it? Mm-hmm. They always do this.
Oh yeah, you got some triggered people in the chat insulting for nothing but logic talk. It's incredible.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there something wrong with the triangle not being that easy to... I'm not too sure what's up with that. That works perfectly. There's no problem with any of that for me in anything that we went through. Now,
can you see that triangle that I put up in the that wooden one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the.
Anyone wants to take that? Yeah.
I think that's the.
Anyone wants to take that and have a. Yeah, anyone want to take that and measure the angles on that? I'm pretty sure you'll come up with 180 degrees. I mean, it was made wrong, if not, or you're measuring it wrong. One or the other.
It's a triangle. You can prove it's got... if you say the sum of two right angles would equal to the circle with a straight line, but you can't say it's a straight line because he's already said within the rectilinear that it's got to be two straight lines meeting, not one. Which is, that's how you prove a triangle as 180 degrees, that all of the angles of each of them add up together to make a straight line, which you can call...
Did we earlier have the word diagonal? I'm not sure we did.
I don't think diagonal's in there, actually, you know, as a definition at the minute.
It is mentioned in my reference, but I didn't want to mention it. So
yeah.
But like for short, like the triangle there, the right angle wooden triangle. You know, you can extend from the points, make it a rectangle. Then you will have four right angles. So maybe there is something there you can work with.
Oh, Blue, somebody... oh, the chat, is the chat being nasty to Blue? Blue. Oh,
people know things, people are... It's, you know, like 12-year-olds, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't learn it, otherwise, do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
everyone's claiming that, oh, it's easy and it's, you know, we've done all this before, but why are you arguing about what we're presenting there? Well, not what we are, what Euclid presented.
Yeah, we're just going over our thoughts of it. I mean, if you want to have an idea about it, I mean, come and join us. Tell us what you think about these straight lines and stuff. I mean,
well, yeah, and what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it, yeah? If they're thinking that, you know, or maybe they don't think there's anything wrong with it. Is that what it is? Come in and tell us.
I can remember when Brenda said that, what was it? Something like Euclidean geometry doesn't happen in the presence of gravity. Something like that. Something fucking stupid like that. Oh, wait a minute, that was it. Here's a classic. Redmond.
Well, I think it's good to go over the original, you know, books. You know, these older books that we're
don't
able
talk
to look
about
over.
Triangles. I know about triangles, right?
There you go. Don't talk to me about triangles. I know about triangles. That was Brenda. Let's see what I think. This one might be Brenda too. Yeah, well, probably one of the most perfect books ever wrote.
Well, it's wrong
as well.
Well, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
What Euclid's elements are wrong.
No, it's wrong, isn't it?
I don't know. You say it's wrong. Like you've
Well,
just
on
said
a
it
surface-
three or four times there. But how
Yeah.
is it wrong? You just say in that Euclid's elements is wrong. Euclidean geometry
Yeah.
is wrong. Brenda.
Right. It's wrong.
Yep.
It's wrong because in the presence of gravity, space is non-Euclidean.
Wow.
In the presence of gravity. Did you just say?
Yes.
So when we say we use Euclidean geometry, would that mean that there is no gravity, or that you're wrong?
No, that doesn't mean that. That doesn't follow.
There you go, Brenda. You've teamed up with Bebby. Good luck. Because, like I say, I don't know whether Brenda's.
I don't think I'd pick Brenda to be on my side on logic. You know what I mean? If I was given the choice, you or Brenda on logic, on my side. I should have a vote. No disrespect, Brenda, but you know, come on.
Because I do actually teach my son geometry. So when you say we,
Yeah, that's child abuse. That's child abuse.
what teaching a child geometry?
But yeah, because you're not.
There you go. There you go, Bebby.
Wow.
Team up with them, guy. Off you go.
Good.
So, I mean, I'm sorry to anybody who we may have offended tonight by thinking that we are being child abusers. But that's Brenda, text chat troll. She's been going at it all the time while we've been doing all of this, whilst thinking it's child abuse for teaching geometry. We've just been going over the basics of the definitions and all of that, but you know.
Yeah, biggest selling book apart from the Bible. You know, that sort of thing. So, why would you involve gravity in geometry there with just two?
Yeah, anybody that is willing to say the things that Brenda's said over simple things about straight lines and angles and shapes and stuff that we've been going over and definitions and all of that, basic geometry, and then have the nerve to call people child abuse, and then constantly hound us saying that we don't know anything about geometry. You've seen them in the text chat. Just going at it.
Yeah, I mean, how long did it take you to draw that triangle thing on the whiteboard? During that, maybe 3-4 minutes. Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, simple stuff that we can all deal with. But I mean, I guess everybody knows what the triggered model afflicted troll does. I mean, quite familiar. Babs is still here. He's the only one left. There was who was there? Bebby, Blue. Oh, Brenda's still there. I've got another one.
Will record what you say and remind you of it. I think that's another.
Yeah. Right. So.
Always gets.
Here's another one. I think this is the other.
Well, for an approximation, it's something like.
No, get an exact one. These are surveyors you're talking for, Brenda. They actually use the tools. They have the most accurate tools for measuring levels.
Yeah, it's approximately 7.98 inches per mile.
Okay.
Over short distances, that's accurate.
7.98 inches.
Yeah, didn't I say that?
Yeah, but you did use 7.98 inches, didn't you? You had a decimalization of inches, not feet. You didn't decimalize feet. You decimalized inches, right?
My understanding is that it's like 8 inches per mile. A little bit more accurate is 7.98 inches per mile.
7.98 inches. 7.98.
7 and 9/8.
It's 7.
How many eighths? How many eighths in an inch, Brenda?
No, this is decimal.
Yeah, you said 7 and 9.
You've decimalized. You've decimalized inches. Why did you do that?
I misspoke. So what's wrong with? So this is this another of your religious superstitions?
No. This is great, Brenda. I'm loving it.
This is one of your superstitions. Decimalize feet. Is that what one of your superstitions?
I don't have a superstition for decimalizing feet.
Do you know what? When I was at school, I was always told that you cannot mix metric and imperial measurements.
I'm not mixing.
Yes, you are.
There you go. There's the caliber of people that we're up against.
And that was
they wonder why.
Go on.
They wonder why you won't debate them. Sorry, I'm gonna drop off from it anyway, because I'm gonna shoot on. But yeah, cheers for the chat, guys.
Cool.
Enjoyed that, and thanks everyone.
We have this all the time. Like, she's done 7.98. Bob had an error measurement of 1.25 or 20/16, and I mean, it's just it's funny. It's actually comical.
Yeah. Misunderstandings of basic geometric facts of people that have obviously never picked up a ruler or measured anything, and you get told that supposedly academically these people that don't even know what elements are the ones that are telling you don't know what geometry is, or that it's a child abuse to teach your children geometry.
It's child abuse to teach children 1/4 is 16/64.
Holy shit.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to work that one out, Rakia?
A couple miles or meters, depending on where you are driving.
Oh, what's that short? Is that the short straight line, or is that the?
I broke lead on it. You ever heard that expression, breaking lead? It's when you're having a real problem, solving that mathematical equation. I broke lead on that sucker.
Well, if you drove a couple miles straight, do you think you could find a shorter distance than that?
No, I'd have to be going over a curved surface to find a shorter distance than a straight line between 2 points.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob. Shout out to Bob.
Well, strangely enough, today, but I got a recording given to us from somebody with it that Bob says that a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. It's really weird, almost as if they're holding contradictory thoughts at the same time.
It's almost like we have it recorded.
Yeah, both contradictory things recorded. Yeah.
I can allow you to hold two contradictory thoughts at the same time. Well, I guess it kind of is true because the more you get trained, is that the word in the
he
model?
did use the word trained, right? Trained.
Yeah.
Specifically, you have
Not
to be, don't
educated.
you?
Yeah, trained, exactly. That's the perfect word, right?
Yeah.
So for each kind of not talking point, but like each of these, talking points within, like there will be contradictions along the way. So you're gonna have multiple of them. The further in you go, the more of them you're gonna have to hold at the same time.
Unfortunately, yes. For certain people. Anybody listening, stay listening, we'll teach you them. Certain things that other people have to say. That's why we say here on this Discord server, leave your globals at the door. And means drop your model. It won't help you. It just gets you triggered. Especially if you're a certain age. Seems to be, you get awfully triggered. All we do is just ask that, globals.
Globals at the door. Yeah, it's good that you also say like leave the model, because was it last night or the day before we had a flat Earth presentation going on in Discord,
Yeah.
right? And he ran into a lot of issues, and we disagree with a lot of what he had to say because of the same kind of things. So both models, leave them at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, it skews the definitions of things, whereas I think, like you were saying, you have 3 laws, whereas I just think the law of non-contradiction is the one that is quite easy to point out, is that you can't have flat being called flat whilst also being not flat. Which I suppose may even come into the definitional one as well. But yeah, it's rather a strange position to hold yourself in a position in another. other place to put an idea of a framework of whatever, but at no point could you put yourself in a position where a circle was a square, right? Because you can't have something that is defined as something being something that it's not defined as. You know, like, it's just... I can't see the point in, personally. I'm just saying, I can't see how you would do that. You know, even in a thought pattern, I couldn't think of a square being a circle or a straight line being a circle. It just doesn't work. I don't have the ability to do that. And I know some people think you have to. Well, call me crazy, but I cannot think of a straight line being a circle. Maybe some geometric block that I've got.
I think you cut off. Like, you can't think of a straight line, and then you cut off.
It says I can't think of a straight line being a circle.
Right.
I just don't have the ability to do that. You know, perhaps it's a geometric block. Perhaps, I don't know.
No, I think I think that's both of those things are thoroughly defined as two different things. So I think you're spot on there.
Right, so are we going to jump back in the other chat, or should we just end it and go over it and keep in the Discord? Anybody want to go over anything over, because that's the first Euclid step 1. Should we, I mean, what should we do next time? Should we go over the problems that people are going to come up with, or do we... I mean, is there any arguments that people should be able to come up with that go and talk about anything? Or, I mean, like, personally, I know they were talking about the parallel postulate, but that's just a really bad...
If we let them say it themselves. You know,
They will say it in the text chat, and I'm not so sure whether any of them will want to come in and talk to us about it. So I'm guessing at some point along the line there's going to be geometrical problems coming at us from certain group of people. Well, we can aim to deal with them within the geometrical concepts that we're going over. But these ones are just two-dimensional geometry. We'll go through a few of the propositions. Maybe go over a few of the ones that I think are important in book 3 also. Different arguments and things that come up from that. We'll try and find an Al-Biruni reference. and some others, to go over those. But then I think we should mainly intelligent enough, Babs. Two plumb bobs. Brilliant. Oh, it's sad. What's the best you've got? So we'll go over some of the problems. I mean, what Babs is just talking about in the chat now is one of the biggest problems that they've got. And we will let them help us. That's the idea. I'm hoping to help some model afflicted people. Let us help them with their problems. In which way Babs will actually be helping us coming up with these things, because we know the people who have pushed the arguments that Babs is coming up with. A team talk and we'll explain. Do you want to put a thingy in the chat? I think we'll go over the problems that everybody's going to be having in the Discord.